Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we were racing in Division 2 of the Indian Racing League, subbing in for our friend Big Booty actually in the Racing Point team. So this was going to be an interesting run for us because we were racing at the same track the next day. The highlights for that will be out shortly. And basically we were going to try out a two-stop strategy. That was the goal here. So the goal was to just test it out, see what would, if anything like that would work for tomorrow, and how competitive we could be. So jumping right into it, we pick the balanced tire set over here, and yeah, we get straight into qualifying. So this lobby is actually really competitive, and the championship on both fronts is still open. So I'm looking to not disrupt anything too much in here, but to put in a good race. So we pick our setup and we run 3.7 laps of fuel I think for this run, just to make sure that we can get around and we don't run out of fuel towards the end of the lap. So this is just going to be a banker for us. I'll run you through the lap. So not getting the best exit into the last corner onto the main straight. Already we know we can be a bit quicker there. So we enter into the first corner taking as much track to the right as we can, holding the car through the corner and accelerating just as you can feel the weight shift and the car come back onto balance. We didn't take as much of the left curb there as we could have into the entry of that corner, and we go very wide over there in sector 1. um, so already going into the lap we know that we have a lot more to give there, but we are still confident with it. This is going to be a decent banker, so we push on with the lap. So yeah, going down the straight, turning on the DRS nice and early, and getting to the only braking zone in sector 2. A bit slow off the exit there, and we could have taken a bit more curb into the entry of the chicane there. So again, we know that we can improve on this time, but it feels good to be setting purple sectors already. Not taking as much of the curb into the fast flat out right hand over there, which again is a few hundreds to be gained, and testing out a nice calm approach into that corner. So in the commentary actually it says it doesn't look like we're pushing at all on any of our laps, and that's just from practice from trying to make this track look clean. So again, just running a bit wide on the entry there, knowing we can get some more time. Down into third, down into, oh, we don't take it down into second, just third straight away for that good exit on the DRS nice and early. And as you can see, we set a 1:29.052, which is genuinely a good banker for us and a good indication of our pace over here, because I think our best time in time trial was only a 1:28.1. So on a lap running high fuel, as you can see, we're top of the table here, and everyone has put their bankers in on soft. So we know that a lot of people, especially the top runners, are probably holding back because they're trying to do their main runs on mediums, as you can see here. So I cut out my second run where I ran 3.2 laps of fuel, and at the end of that, as you can see in the pits here, we see a lot of people, especially Natsumi and HVP, going onto the hards, or onto the mediums for qualifying, and that in fact is the optimal strategy, a mediums to hards. So we feel confident that we can probably qualify very high up the table on softs, but it puts us at a huge disadvantage because we're going to be attempting that two stop today, and with a 30-second pit over here, it's quite a hard task. So anyway, off for our third and final lap of the session. So as you can see, already getting a better exit onto the last corner and a good run onto the straight. So our second lap was an improvement. It was a 1:28.8, pulling us into the 1:28s. But as you can see on the first corner here, we already gain a tenth, so we know that this is going to be a good lap. And I really feel on France, the first corner can make or break your lap time, just because it's so tricky and there's so much time to be gained. So we go a bit deep in there, losing a little bit of the advantage we gained, but get it back on the exit of this corner. And as you can see, setting a purple sector 1. So that was a good, again, just reapproval of our pace, and we knew that we were good on the softs here. So at the end of the straight, we take a lot more curb onto the entry there, which gives us a much better exit. And perhaps a little bit of a slipstream from Sid Venkatesh here, so we maintain that near 1/10th average, setting a fastest middle sector as well. Taking a lot more inside curve here, as you can see we gain around 100th of a second, and in these league races every 100th matters, so we gain a lot more time through that corner. I think it's Labose, and around 2/10ths up at this point. Sid going just a little bit awry there on the exit of that corner and decides to back out and let us through right here. So thank you to him. We get a good exit there, and down into second this time for the rotation, and up into third again for the exit. And we're a strong 3/10ths up in purple in every sector. So this looked really, really good for us. And at this point, I'll give you a taste of how happy I was.
Holy shit, P1! P1, guys! Oh! Holy shit, yes! Yes! But dude, we're gonna start on such worn tires, holy shit! Okay, yeah, this is the
So as you can see here, the strategy we're going for is the recommended strategy of a two-stop, softs to mediums. And we're just going to underfuel it slightly just to give us a bit more advantage on the beginning. So we're going to take it away right here at the race start. Once everyone loads in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights on, and away we go. A decent start, pulling away from the rest of the pack. You can see in the review mirror that P2 of Natsumi stays very close with us and inches closer to the corner, but we hold our position into the first turn. Nishan and Quick Killer having a glitch there, just jump the start and don't garner any penalties for it, so that is something that we will have to wrap our heads around for the beginning of this race. But the heavy car kind of drifts a little bit wide on these corners, especially when you're trying to accelerate when your tires are under high load. And we get a good exit. We get away well from Ace, who's in P2. As you can see that Natsumi, who was in P2, has fallen to P3. So there was some battling going on behind us, which was really benefiting us at this point of time. So for the first lap, taking you through it, we are just a little bit cautious on the brakes, on the accelerator, just because the car's heavy, the tires are not up to temperature yet, and we are just trying to put in clean laps to get as much of an advantage as we can. So already getting Ace out of our DRS over there, so that'll be helpful for us in a couple laps time. But as you can see, we're actually catching Quick Killer up ahead, who right now is driving under AI because his jump start was a result of disconnecting from the session. So at the end of first lap, we maintain our position and we build a little bit of a gap between us and Ace, who is also a soft runner. So I think there are 4 or 5 medium runners in the top 10, and the rest are all running softs. So in our mind, this was a good thing, and you can see Quick Killer letting us pass here on lap 2 because he regained control of his car and didn't want to get any penalties later on in the race. So lap 3, and you see there's a virtual safety car because Sid Venkatesh is retired. And that allows us to just calm down for a second, but we've built up a strong 3-second gap on Sumi, which has been eaten into right now because of this safety car. So we're trying to be as cautious as we can over here just to stay away from any unwanted penalties. And Sumi again 2.5 seconds behind on the mediums. That gap isn't the best, but we'll have to see how we can do. Anyway, lap 6 continuing on. We at this point decide to come into the pits. So these tires were worn as they'd done around 2.5 laps in the quali session. So this first stint was very, very short compared to the rest. So we pull into the pits and let's see where we come out.
Release.
So we come out right behind Crazy Mouse Monster and Redstone Derp in P9, and that gives us a lot to do, so we are on the charge almost immediately, just ensuring we don't spin off. And by lap 8, just a few laps later, you can see we're already on the back of Crazy Mouse Monster. So in just one lap's time, we've made up 5 seconds on Crazy Mouse in front of us, so we can see just how much pace we have here today on these softs, especially a fresh set. So we're cautious because we don't want to do any damage to ourselves, don't want to mess around with anything, and we just stay behind Crazy Mouse for the last sector here. There isn't much of a point in trying to overtake, but right now we dive to the right and go for a move on the outside, going very, very wide, but sticking it nicely through with the grip we have on those soft tires and easily past Crazy Mouse. And at this point, we think, okay, next step is Redstone Derp, and we set on the charge towards him. Not using any ARS because we don't expect Crazy Mouse to try and defend, but as you can see, he dives back down the inside, and we give him a lot of space on the inside and keep it clean and keep our advantage. So these softs are just so much quicker. And 2 laps later, we're right on the back of Redstone Derp, and that leaves us with a good opportunity to make a move on to the next big straight. So we just try to stay as close as we can to him in this curvy sector over here. And we can see him going just a little bit slowly, so we go for the lunge, thinking he's going to give us the space, but no, we get spun around. And actually, I had no idea we aren't allowed to reset the track, but I did so right there. Really, really worried I was going to lose a lot of time. So again, in 1 lap's time, we're back on Redstone Derp, and this time we aren't going to make a move into any risky places. We're just going to try and get him on the straight with all the pace we have, using all of our ERS and our fuel. And as you can see, Redstone Derp isn't like like we're not closing as quick as we should be with all this pace, showing that he's using some ERS to fight us, but he lets us through with that ambitious dive down the inside, and we are already clear away.
Okay, move made. Holy shit.
So at the end of lap 11, just as we're coming towards the final corner, we see that the runners in front of us have all gone for their one scheduled pit stop. And at this point, we gain our position back in the front at the net lead. So at this point, we thought we were doing okay. The pace was okay, but that one spin with Redstone really cost us. And at this point, only Jinsanity, who's running extremely long on those hards, started on the hard tire, now finding himself in the race lead, is in front of us with a clear 11-second lead. And this is the point where we really, really need to put down the pace. But unfortunately for us, it seems we used all of the tires we had to fight Crazy Mouse and Redstone Derp. And the gap between us and Sumi at this point, which is around 6 seconds, just diminishes and diminishes until we are at around 3 seconds left. And you guys can see that unfold over here. The gap between Jinsanity and I is not decreasing, and the gap between Sumi and I is not increasing. So at this point, we really this is the point where we, I think, lost the race for us. And I don't know why it happened. I don't know. Probably focus or tires, one of the two. But either way. So at the end of lap 14 over here, we can see that Sumi is only 2 seconds behind us at this point. We realize we're losing too much time on these tires and go for our second and last scheduled pit stop onto the medium tires. And interestingly, we know that the tires should theoretically make it to the 13 laps we need, because all the leaders ran 13 laps on their sets of mediums that they started the race on. So we're hoping for a good exit from the pit lane, and we're hoping we can get ahead of most of our rivals. So Oxidized Rage gets in front of us, but Redstone Derp, who waited very, very long to pit, is a long way behind. So we come out in a comfortable P8, and now begins the charge back to however high we can get, since we didn't have the pace to maintain the lead, and we realized that a 2-stop was not a good strategy in this race. We have everything to do now with, let's say, 13 laps to go and fresher tires than pretty much everyone else on the field. And at this unfortunate point, you can see migrating host, and everyone starts leaving the session. I sit back not knowing what the hell's happening, feeling like I've gotten kicked from the session, and realizing that this last stint, which I had everything to prove, was now down the drain. And just trying to get on my phone, figure out what's happening, and I'll come back to you when I join the race. So we assume control of our car again over here a long time after we got kicked from the session. As you can see, it's lap 19 now compared to lap 15 when we left the race, and we are down in P12. So we had 20 seconds to the driver behind us in P8, and so we just know we've lost too much time for us to do anything at this point. Super dejected, but at least coming out of the thing knowing that a two-stop race was not the move. Was not the move. So that helped us for the race the next day. But yeah, I'm just gonna run the race till the end really quick and show you how everything shook out. So as you guys can see, P8 at the end of all of this, but for our first pole position, so we can't really be complaining. Thank you guys for watching. Come again.